What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. You guys join me on a very exciting day. This is my new 2006 Porsche Cayenne. If you guys have been following the channel for a little while now, I've been talking about getting another project car for the channel, or just something to have alongside the C63 to do daily driver duties and haul stuff and that sort of thing. And I owe you guys a very long explanation on how this car came to be, but essentially this was a very cheap Facebook Marketplace find locally that was near me, and I couldn't pass up the opportunity to get this car. So like I said, guys, this is my new 2006 Porsche Cayenne. This is the 955 body style of the Cayenne. It ran, I believe, from 2003 to 2009, 2010, somewhere around there. And yeah, this is the base Cayenne. It is not a Cayenne S or anything like that, so it has the V6, and we'll talk all about that in a little bit here. But as you can see, this car is painted in a really nice shade of silver. It's not the most exciting specification, obviously. It does have a couple cool options, which I'll go over, but yeah, just a really nice base Cayenne. It's exactly what I was looking for. I was cross-shopping a couple different options, but the Cayenne was really just sitting at the top of my list throughout it all. I just really like the first generation Cayenne, and it is, you know, the car that saved Porsche. You know, as much as people may not like to admit it, this car really made Porsche into what it is today. You guys can probably expect finding these Cayennes in decent enough condition is proving to be very difficult these days. I know they made a lot of them, but a lot of them have either been turned into very expensive kind of off-road builds, which is not something I was particularly interested in, and then they've also kind of been driven into the ground, the rest of them. So finding a good one with relatively decent miles and a decent enough condition is, like I said, getting very tough. And to give you guys a little bit more backstory on how this particular Cayenne came to be, it was a Facebook Marketplace find. Like I said, it was family owned for a number of years. It is originally a Florida car, I believe, so it has minimal rust. It does have some clear coat peeling and stuff like that, which I'll show you guys, but overall it's in really good condition. Clean title, no stories, no anything like that. So starting right up front, talking about the design of the Cayenne here, obviously the 955 Cayenne shares a lot of design similarities with the 996 911 that was running alongside it at the time. And you can see they share the same headlight design. Now on this particular Cayenne, you can see the headlights are a little bit faded. I do have plans to restore those. I've been watching some videos on how to properly do that, so really interested to share my experiences doing that with you guys. You can see the passenger one is definitely a little bit more worse for wear than the driver, but overall in really good condition. This car is optioned with the bi-xenon headlights, so a little bit more visibility at night compared to the traditional halogen ones. Moving a little bit further down on the front bumper, you can see there's some paint obviously chipping away here. It has been a daily driver for all of its life, but nothing really that would not look presentable from 10 feet away. You can see the Porsche crest is in really good condition, and yeah, really nice. No body damage really of any kind, no dents, which is really good. Moving along the side here, this car is also optioned with the 18-inch Cayenne turbo wheels. They're not really my favorite design wheel, to be honest with you. I do kind of like the multi-spoke designs of the other Cayenne models, but these aren't bad. Maybe we'll change them out in the future. I'm not entirely sure. One thing also on the exterior, you can see this kind of window, this windshield trim is a little cracked and faded. If you guys know of any connections or resources I can use to replace that, I would definitely look into that, because yeah, it's a little beat up. You can see I'm a little concerned with water entry as well. So if you guys have any suggestions for that, please let me know. One of the other things I'd like to point out to you guys are the side mirrors. This is definitely some of the worst clear coat peel on the car that it has. Not too bad. Obviously the mirrors are heavily exposed to the sun and the elements, so no real surprise that has kind of happened over time. But as we move along the side of the car, continuing on, no body damage. Like I was saying, there are a couple scuffs here and there. I believe there's one kind of on the rear wheel arches. They're a little bit tough. The good thing about silver is that it hides a lot of this stuff, so it's really not too bad from 10 feet away. You can see probably someone backed into a pole or something right there. One quick thing to note on this driver's side rear tire, I've already had to do the first repair. This tire had a huge nail in it. I'm not sure if I picked it up while I was driving the car home or anything like that, but I did have to get that patched. See, this is a pre-refresh Cayenne, obviously, so it does just have the standard kind of design of the tail lights there. The Cayenne script in black looks really nice, and obviously the dual exhaust tips. If you guys have already noticed right here, this portion of the rear kind of trunk lid right there is peeling off. Honestly, like, if you see it, it's not too bad underneath, so I might just finish peeling the rest of this off to kind of uncover the rest of this, and it will blend in enough that it might look not half bad. So we'll see what happens with that. But obviously the kind of running board or whatever right here for the cargo is in really good condition. If we go ahead and pop the trunk, this is the reason why the Cayenne is so practical. Just a huge trunk back here. You can see the car did actually come with a car cover. I believe this is a Cayenne specific car cover, which is really nice. Some jumper cables, I guess the previous owner decided to throw in. You can see I have some of my golf stuff in here already. And if you go ahead and pop the kind of under storage of the trunk here, you can see the spare tires there. Obviously it's pretty dry rotted. I don't think it's ever been used, but it does have the rest of the tools in there, which is really, really nice. And some of the other kind of stickers for the production line there. And to close the trunk, obviously no power tailgate or anything, so you got to use a little bit of muscle to finish closing it up there. But let's move along to the passenger side here. There's some other body damage that I'd like to point out to you guys. Just a couple scratches and things right there. Not half bad whatsoever. And if we look in the gas cap, I did just want to show you guys, I haven't cleaned this car up at all or anything like that, so you can see there's a bit of dirt and stuff in there. I did just want to show you guys how the car looked as I picked it up. I do have plans to fully detail this Porsche crest in the center cap right here is kind of faded out. I'll look to replace that at some point. It's not huge on the priority list, but it might help kind of rejuvenate the overall look of that wheel. And then if we come to the front, you could see similar thing, but not as bad. The crest is kind of faded out, so we'll see what we can do to replace those as well. I think they should be a pretty easy swap out. Similar to the driver's side mirror, the passenger one here also has some clear coat peeling, and also the housing is a little bit wobbly. I definitely don't think that's factory, so might have to look into tightening that up. Maybe there's a screw missing in there or something like that. Before we take a full look at the interior here, let's go ahead and just hop in and actually pop the hood. Like I said, I haven't cleaned this thing at all, so there's some dirt on the carpets and stuff, and I do have a full detail, like I said, planned for this thing. But if you go ahead to the front of the Cayenne here, like I said, this is the base Cayenne, so it has the 3.2 liter V6, 250 horsepower, I believe. 0 to 60 is like 9 seconds or something like that, so it is not fast whatsoever. But it does get the job done, gets pretty decent fuel economy. I haven't really owned it enough to give you guys some accurate numbers on the fuel economy yet, but definitely look forward to reporting back on that. But overall, really, really nice engine presentation. As you guys can see, all the covers are obviously still intact. There's nothing cracked, nothing missing, nothing really faded out. You can see the really nice kind of intake manifold here with the runners and the 3.2 V6 badging. Interior here, you can see right on the door panel in very good condition. Some of the materials in here are not the best, obviously. There's some creaks and rattles and stuff like that, but everything works. You can see this is optioned with the 3-person memory driver's seat, which is very, very nice. You can see the leather is in good condition on this seat. Floor mats do need probably a replacement at some point. This kind of section is peeling. Actually, it's staying down based on the floor right there, but if you kind of let it go, yeah, it'll do its thing. So yeah, looking into replacing that at some point, and probably looking into doing some maybe aluminum pedals at some point as well. One of the bigger issues on these Cayennes, and actually the VW Touaregs and stuff like that, is the headliner actually is prone to sagging. You can see this one is actually not in bad condition. There are some parts of it that are getting a little bit wrinkled up, and you can feel some of the glue starting to let go a little bit on some of these sections, but overall it looks really, really good. I might use some headliner staples if it starts to get worse and parts start falling back a little bit, but overall, like I said, in good condition. The steering wheel looks really, really nice. The leather feels great. There's no kind of cracking on the buttons or anything like that, or they're not really faded out. The controls for the Tiptronic are right here. They're not my favorite design, kind of with your thumb, but that's how they did it back in the day. And we'll go ahead and actually put the key in, and you can see the switchblade, obviously. It's actually in the design of the Cayenne, which is really, really neat. You can see the Porsche emblem on the back there, but traditional Porsche ignition. If I could actually find it on the left, we'll go ahead and just put it in accessory mode for now. Gauge cluster fully illuminated. You can see there's no burnt out pixels. See a couple buttons right here. This car does not have heated seats, so I believe the dials for those would be right there if this car had that option. One of the issues with this particular car is that the radio buttons do not work. The radio works. You actually have to use these buttons on the steering wheel here to change the station, the gauge cluster, but as you can see, it doesn't really illuminate, and the buttons on the bottom and the top don't really do anything. So looking into replacing that at some point, maybe put a kind of a double DIN Apple CarPlay screen in there. So with that being said, let's go ahead and actually start the car up. So we'll just put our foot on the brake and flick the ignition over to the right again. Starts right up, no hesitation, no lights on the dash or anything like that. This car also has obviously working air conditioning. You can fold down that kind of Porsche cover right there and play with the fan settings and everything. You have some storage right here. This is the control for the gear selector for the 6-speed automatic. No backup camera or anything like that, but you can see you do have a manual mode right there, and I did show you guys the controls on the steering wheel if you want to do it that way as well. A little bit further down here, you can see the handles that are kind of a traditional Cayenne hallmark now. They look really, really good. They feel sturdy. Obviously, they haven't broken off or anything yet, which is nice. And you have some controls down here for the transfer case and the off-road settings. I'll be honest, I haven't played too much with this yet. I'm a little concerned I'm gonna break something if I try and shift it into some of the modes here. So I've kind of left it as is for now. I think it's sitting in its auto setting. Maybe I'll get a little bit braver as time goes on and play around with that. And then you have some cup holders right here, and this is a 2-level kind of storage right here. You can see the top lid pops up, and then you have a secondary storage underneath it. There's a little bit of kind of cracking on the lid here, and there's some discoloration on the plastic right here. You guys can maybe see that, so we'd look to try and clean that up as well. Let's go ahead and shut the car off here and actually head into the back seat. Another thing on this particular Cayenne, as we hop in the back seat, the door handle back here is a little wobbly. I don't use too much force when I open it because I'm afraid I'm actually going to pull it off, so something to note. But as you can see, the door panel in the back seat here looks really good as well. The back seat leather is also in nice condition. You can see there's some wrinkles and everything, and obviously the most notable wear is this kind of tear right here. You also have some climate vents in the center part of the console there for the rear, and I actually haven't opened this part up yet. You can see, I think these are, yep, some cup holders. I already showed you guys the tear in the center console, but if we go ahead and pull it down, you can see there's some nice storage under there. And the seats actually also fold. If I can do this one-handed and pop the latch, you can see they will fold flat. Obviously, if the front seat was moved up a little bit. But overall, guys, that concludes the first look at my new 2006 Porsche Cayenne. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I have a ton of cool content planned on this car. I'm really excited to show you guys and document all of that. If you did enjoy this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.